Hi, good afternoon. So we're on day 2 of the 5-day challenge. And I think that I've managed this time to figure out now how to share my screen. I did test it, but you know, I'm no technical guru, so who knows? Well, we'll give it a go. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for participating yesterday. The amount of comments was really chuffed with, was really pleased because like I do put time and energy into this stuff. And when people show up and actually benefit from it, it just makes it all really worthwhile. So thank you. I do appreciate it. And one of the most common feedback or things that people said that was really interesting is actually that when they saw all of those words and descriptions around overwhelm, that the fact that it wasn't just them somehow felt reassuring. And this is partly what stresses people out because they believe it's only them, they believe that they're broken, and they're not broken. And actually, we all work in the exact same way. So when some people will say to me, yeah, but Sari, you were really anxious, but you're okay. But what if I'm not like you? What if I can't do what you've done? Well, you are like me and you're like everybody else because we're human. And so in terms of our stress and our anxiety and overwhelm and all of that, it all works in the exact same way. And I hope that actually that showed you that yesterday in the sense that, I just picked those randomly from so many different people, and yet you were all able to relate to the same things. And I can vouch for the fact that that's the things that I hear from hundreds of other people as well. So we're definitely not alone in this at all. And every single thing that you ever tell me or express in terms of how you're feeling, 99.9% of the time, I can pretty much think of a time where I felt exactly the same. So thank you. So overwhelm will always start from a busy mind, always. You're not going to be overwhelmed with a quiet mind. When we've got a quiet mind and we're present and we're calm, it's impossible to be overwhelmed at the same time. The two don't mix. You can't be panicked, overwhelmed, stressed, and relaxed at the same time. So, it makes sense to reduce the overwhelm by quietening the mind. And that is effectively what we're doing here. So often people think that we've got to do stuff, like there's lots to do. So in order to quieten the mind and reduce overwhelm, we have to do meditation, have to go to yoga, I have to write lists, I have to do this, I have to do that. Now, it's actually even easier than that. I was one of those people when I used to really struggle, I would go to meditation, I would do all the things that people told me I needed to do, but yet sometimes, actually more often than not, when I was really overwhelmed, none of it helped. And it didn't help me because when we're overwhelmed and we don't understand how it works and we don't understand that our thoughts are creating our feelings, we can override anything. So I would sit in a meditation class, literally with my eyes closed, sat comfortably going, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This is not working for me. What if I feel panicked? Oh my God, I'm going to have to get up in front of all these people and blah, blah. And it became a stressful experience for me. Now, that sort of stuff is great. If it works for you, brilliant. Like, this isn't a case of saying this is right and this is wrong. If you're somebody that goes to yoga and it really helps you, or meditate, keep doing it. Of course, keep doing it. But part of the reason I tell people this is because sometimes when we believe we're broken, it's because the things that normally work to help us relax can stop working. And that's just because our mind has got busier and busier and busier, and we're caught up in this cycle of overwhelm, and no amount of doing, even if it's stuff that's perceived to be good for you, is going to take that away. What's going to take that away is when you start to fear it less and you understand how it works. Because our bodies reset by themselves and our minds reset by themselves when we don't interfere. So again, how do we do that? Like, it's one of the most common questions I get asked, but how do I stop the thoughts? How do I reduce the thoughts? Well, it's understanding how it works. When I showed you yesterday on that little mini presentation, it's only 2 slides, but mind, thought, and consciousness, understanding those 3 principles is what changed everything for me. So we just need to be open-minded and be interested, and just like you're doing now, watching this video, just listen with an open mind, and you will start to hear things and see things from a slightly different perspective than you have before. There's nothing for you to do other than show up and be open-minded. So I want you to imagine something. So when we talk about, I say to people all the time, the issue you've got is that you're interfering with your body's natural system, the natural way. So when we have physical symptoms that have come from loads of overthinking and worrying, and then our body responds accordingly, that's the time where we just need to leave it well alone, because it will settle by itself. But what happens is, because people fear the physical symptoms, or they fear the way that they're feeling, that they try and pick it apart. They try and really understand. I think somebody said in a comment yesterday that I had to write it all down until I fully understood it. Well, if you think about a problem, if you think that things come from our feelings come from our thoughts, you know, actually to write things down and go over and over and over it's going to keep it there for longer, because it's just kind of honing in on those thoughts and keeping them there for much longer. I know some people really thoroughly enjoy journaling, things like that. Again, that's great. But for me, if you're going to journal the positivity, because spending loads of time with your negative thoughts is only going to intensify them. So I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine you go into this big room, and on the floor of this big room, there's mouse traps, there's things sticking up, there's like, it's dangerous, like really dangerous. Like there's a big saw that if you fell on, it would literally cut you in half. It's dangerous. But there are spaces and gaps in between all of that danger in this room. Somebody puts you in this room and they say to you, okay, in a minute, the lights are going to go off. It's going to go completely pitch black. You won't be able to see a thing. And the only way you will see light straight away is if you go to that door and open it. However, the lights are going to come on. We just can't tell you when and how long it will be. But what we can guarantee you is that the lights are going to come back on. So there's a comfortable chair there in the middle of all this that you're currently sat in. So the lights go off. And I also say to you, every time, the only thing we can guarantee you is every time you get your foot stuck in a trap or you experience some level of pain, the light's going to stay off for a little bit longer. So you are going to extend the period of time of darkness, but you might find your way and you might get out quicker. What are you going to do? Well, I know what I would do is I would sit in that chair, get myself comfortable, and I would just wait, because I'm not going to risk putting myself through all of this pain just to be seen to be doing something and just to be, I might get a panic in my head that goes, I can't stay here. What if it's a really long time? I don't know if I can cope. I'm going to have to get out of here. And that panic might come. But the chances are that my wisdom, my gut instinct is going to tell me to stay sat and wait it out. And eventually the light will come on. And this is, for me, representative of our mind and it resetting. The light always comes back on. Even when I was in hospital with such severe anxiety, I can think back to times where I was sat laughing, enjoying people's company and having a whale of a time. In and amongst all the pressure, all of the sadness, all of the fear, there were moments where my mind reset, joy came up, peace of mind was there, and it was accessible. But what I would do is, before very long, when I felt that peace of mind, before very long, I'd go back into, well, I've got to get out of this room. I've got to get out of this situation. I've got to get rid of this overwhelm, get rid of this anxiety. And I'd start feeling my way through this pitch black room that was absolutely full of danger. And I had no clue where I was or what I was going to end up experiencing. And for me, the biggest thing actually that changed was learning to accept the discomfort that sometimes sitting in that chair in that dark room brings. But what got stronger and stronger over time was my faith that actually that light is going to come on and I'm going to get out really easily. The more we fight, the more we resist, the more we can become hurt, the more we can stumble, the more at risk we are. And so sometimes it's about just sitting in that chair in that pitch black and just trusting and knowing. And hopefully, again, the more you explore these principles with me, you will see that you can trust that. And you'll start to see more and more of how this works. So the next time you feel like you're really overwhelmed and you're in a panic, I just want you to reflect. It's like if the light goes out. So when the light goes out, that represents like when there's no clarity in our thinking, the mind is busy. It's like the light goes out. It's like, oh gosh, what do we do? Where do I go from here? I don't like this. It's uncomfortable. The light has gone out. We can't see clearly. And it's the same with our thinking. The light will come back on. It always does. But imagine again, I was in that room and I'm in the middle of standing on a mousetrap in the pitch black and I'm trying to do something, and then the light comes on. I could probably not even notice the lights come on because I'm still trying to get this mousetrap off my foot. So it's about becoming more comfortable with the discomfort that we experience. And again, a huge part of that comes from when we start to see how we're experiencing our reality every single day, so that our overwhelm, our anxiety, our stress, whatever it is actually being experienced from in here. So I'm going to try and share my screen with you. So please be patient because I'm not sure. I'm keeping my fingers firmly crossed. I can hear either the dog or the cat doing something. Okay, so let me give this a whirl. Right. Share screen. The cat is scratching under the bed. Okay, so I'm going to play this video. We are going on a roller coaster ride together, guys. So just want you to watch. Getting closer to the top. Can't see much from up here. Whew. Feels like it's taking forever. Hold on tight. We're getting to the top. Oh my goodness. Wow, how high up are we actually going here? Woo! Nearly there, nearly there. Hold on tight. Woo! Are you ready? Are you ready? Ah! Wow. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Ooh. And we're off. Ooh. Woo-hoo-hoo. Making me feel a bit cooler anyway. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. So when you're watching that, let me come out a minute. Let me stop sharing. Let me bring myself back on. There we are. When you're watching that, do you feel anything? Do you experience anything? Or is it just like you're just watching it on the computer and that's that? For me, particularly as I was talking to you guys and getting engrossed in it and like, woohoo, I could actually feel myself getting pretty excited, but also quite like having to take a deep breath. So how on earth can I feel anything from what is effectively a simulator of a roller coaster? How can I even begin to experience that as a reality? I can. So Margaret's waiting for the fall as she hates rides. And I'm showing you this because it's an example of how our thoughts create our reality. So somebody who really doesn't like rides may even watch that and have to turn it off because they start to feel their hearts racing. And the reason your heart's racing is because you're so engrossed and your thinking is telling you, I don't like this. And whatever our dialogue is along the way, we're telling ourselves, that's what we're experiencing. That is what we're feeling in the moment. So before I finish up, and I know I've gone over a minute, so apologies, but before I finish off, with that in mind, I'm just going to show you one more quick video. This is a parkour. Someone else's heart was pounding. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? This is what you're doing when you're overwhelmed. You're on your own roller coaster ride and you're anticipating this dip and what's it going to be like? And no wonder your heart's pounding because you're creating your own reality, which is like a roller coaster. So I'm going to just share another video with you very briefly before I finish up. Let's have a look. Share screen. I'm actually amazed it's shared. I'm pretty chuffed with myself. Hang on. Easily please. So let's have a look. Let's go for this. Woo! Okay, so crazy kids. Crazy, crazy. Let me just get rid of this and bring myself back on. Wonderful. Okay, so I don't like watching those particularly. My heart is in my mouth. I just think, how on earth do they? I mean, I enjoy the roller coaster and I like roller coasters, but I certainly wouldn't be jumping off buildings. And I often think, how do they not just lose their nerve and fall? They're so present in that moment. They enjoy it so much that they're not thinking about what if I fall, what if this, because that would tip them off balance if they got so caught up in their thinking. Their wisdom, their guidance is just following them through. And it's fascinating. So I hope that's given you something to reflect on. Let me know again in the comments when you've watched the video, any thoughts you've had, anything you've seen. And I look forward to our next installment tomorrow. I'll see if I can find anything to share with you tomorrow. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye for now.